So I'm heading out right now to go see the grass-fed store that's local here. A lot of people think you can't find grass-fed meat locally, but there places are around. You just got to do some research. So if you look at today's news, you'll see that there's this devastation right now with Nebraska cattle ranchers and stuff like that, and farmers in general. There have been over $1.3 billion in losses projected already because of the flooding in Nebraska. There's been millions of cattle lost, and the way it looks is it's not going to impact us now. Beef is at its lowest point currently. Now what will end up happening is, as the stock that's around right now falls and beef starts to, the beef that they have in stock is sold and they need more beef and the demand goes up, it's going to skyrocket. There has been so much in regards for the loss of cattle, the loss of farmland. These people are under such devastation right now with what's going on that there's no, what's going on? Let me walk outside real quick. Thank you, sir. There's been so much going on right now with the devastation that's happening that there's more than just cattle and land that's lost. If you think about it, the flooding is projected to have an effect for at least another 2 to 3 months, because we've got a lot of rain coming up. In some places there's still 10 to 20 feet of snow on the ground. When it's all said and done, when everything's all said and done and the flooding has quit, you have to remember they're going to be going into their big planting season, and a lot of the grain and stuff and the hay and everything else that they had stored away is completely destroyed, and they've lost all that money. And now to sustain the cattle that they have, it's going to cost even more, because a lot of stuff's going to have to get brought in from other states because of the flooding that's going on. And on top of that, you have to take into respect the amount of preparation that has to be done to the land. So all this land that the cattle used to graze off of, all the land that the farmers used to farm their corn and their soy and wheat and all this other stuff, all that land's got to be reworked. Everything's got to be changed. So not only did you lose over $1.3 billion in losses when it came to cattle and farmland and stuff, but now these guys are going to have to dump more money into fixing the soil, because now with all the flooding and stuff, it's brought in sand and all kinds of other debris and stuff that's washed out the quality of the soil that they have. Now all that has to be removed. It has to be reworked. You got to replenish the minerals and stuff in the ground and all kinds of stuff to make that ground right to plant what they grow. So now they lose even more money on top of that. All the farm work, the excavating that has to be done, the removal. There's so much damage that's done, it's unreal. So right now is a bad time. So if you're going to buy beef and stock up on beef and stuff like that, you probably should be doing that kind of stuff now, because they've never lost this much cattle at one time. So pay attention to what's going on. There's a lot of devastation right now out west of us, and it's going to continually get worse. With there still being 10 to 20 feet of snow on the ground in certain areas out that way, with all the rain that's coming, it's going to make the situation way worse. They're showing people that aren't even in those flooded areas that are flooded, and whole towns that have been underwater at some point. So it's not going to be a good time. Beef prices probably, I want to say 4 to 6 weeks from now, are going to skyrocket. We're going to be, our grain, the cattle feed, the stuff that we typically buy that come from farmers is going to substantially get worse. The prices are going to get crazy, and it's going to be a bad time. Meat is going to be super expensive here coming up. So those of you that haven't been following the news, that don't know what's going on, get out there and look it up. It's bad right now. There's millions of cattle that have just been lost in this flood. Hello. So, you know, it's it's much bigger than what we look at. It's way bigger than what we're looking at right now. I mean, we can't even grasp the fact of what these families are going through. There was a story of a farmer that was he could jump out there and try to help his 30 head of cattle that were out in the plain and bring them in, but his neighbors were flooding out and they were about to get hurt or drowned or something like that. So he chose to help them instead of his cattle, which I would have done the same thing, but he lost all his cattle in the meantime. While he was trying to help them hurry up and get back to his cattle, they all died. There's lots of livestock right now that just unfathom. It's you just can't fathom the amount of death right now that has happened, and the amount of farmland and stuff that's been destroyed by the flooding that's going on, and it's unreal. And I'm gonna ask the lady some questions today. I'm leaving right now to go to that grass-fed meat store here locally. She's gonna let me ask her some questions. I'm hoping she'll let me interview her, from what I understood. It'll be interesting. So I'm gonna close the video out here in the next couple minutes, and then go do that and try to save as much of my phone battery as possible. But in the meantime, I just wanted you guys to know, kind of what's going on. And if you already do know, emphasize maybe talking to other people about it, letting other people know exactly what's going on. Right now is not a good time for people. Right now, people have lost a lot of money. A lot of these farmers are out of business now. They're never going to be able to recover from this. They're going to be completely out of business. They'll make probably just enough money from insurance claims and stuff like that to maybe pay for some of the stuff that they lost, but a lot of them won't even be able to do that. A lot of them won't be able to come back afloat from this. We've probably lost quite a few good quality cattle farmers, cattle ranchers, because of this, and it's bad. And they're projecting at least another couple months of this and more rains. They don't know what's going to happen. So educate yourself on this. Get out there in the news, see what's going on, and just educate other people as well. And before we get off of here, I've been making a lot of videos lately that I think are pretty good quality, bringing information to people, their lives. So obviously they don't have the editing quality and stuff that other people have. But guys, I do a lot of work to get this stuff done. I frustrate myself and stress myself out a lot to get this stuff done. The least that people can do is respect the video enough to give it a thumbs up, to share it sometimes, whatever it may be. But I'm not even getting that. And there's a lot of times where I go to the length of doing this, and I'll have 80 people that have watched my video, and the biggest bulk of it, the people that follow me and subscribe to me, and I've got 12 likes. That's ridiculous. I mean, I'm doing this stuff because I care. I'm doing this stuff because I'm trying to get my message out. And it would seem that if people respected the quality of the content more, they would like it, they would share it, they would do those kind of things. But that's just not happening. The support sometimes is not there. I don't know if people forget. I don't know if they really care enough. I don't know if they know where that thumbs up button is. But the more, hello Montana, the more you guys do that stuff, the more you help the YouTuber spread. I have a whole video on how to support your YouTuber and the algorithm, and it's very important that you do that. If you don't do that, then they stay at the bottom forever, and they never get to move up and get notoriety for the stuff that they do. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If you can be the make or break for somebody that's growing. Hello Oregon. It's rough right now. It's really rough with the things that are going on out west, and I feel bad for the farmers that are out there. I feel bad for the ranchers and stuff that are out there, because I rely on them. I rely on them for my livelihood. I rely on them for my health. And if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be able to live and eat and take care of myself and feed my family and stuff the way that I do. When I'm going over to my parents' house and trying to cook good quality meals for them and stuff like that. If I didn't have them, I couldn't do that stuff. And if we don't support those people, how are we supposed to feed our family and live a healthy life? We can't buy bottom of the barrel stuff all the time. I mean, it's nice to have that good quality steak, that grass-fed steak and stuff like that, the good quality nutrient going into your mouth. You don't have to have it every day, but it's nice to have it. And we rely on those guys because they are what keep us going. They're what keep our families afloat and stuff, you know, healthy. You wouldn't believe the stress that they have to go through. They have to go through so much stress on a daily basis to do the job that they do. I used to work at a co-op in Pocahontas, Arkansas, where I got to see the stress that these farmers go through. I got to see the amount of loss that they take every single year, that a lot of it they eat. Some of it the insurance company picks up, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it they eat. The floods that come through that ruin their grain silos, they come up and rise 5-6 feet. And when you've got, you know, a dozen silos out there, that could be a ton of money that you just lost. You know, that it's crazy. And then on top of that, you don't just lose the grain. You lose more money on top of it. You lose more money on top of it, losing all that cattle and stuff. Not only do you have to come back in and re-prep the ground, excavate all the stuff that's been flooded in, the extra sand, fill in areas that have been washed out by the flooding and stuff like that. I seen a farmer lose almost 100 acres of one part of the main part of his field, where he feeds most of his cattle off this one part, and everything else gets sent off. But he grew his own grain and stuff for his cattle, non-GMO, all that, just really good quality stuff. He grew it himself for his cattle, so he knew where it was coming from. When the floods came through Pocahontas, Arkansas, it took out almost a 100-acre chunk out of his field and dropped it almost 20 feet down into the ground because it run right across the river. His field's on this side. So as the river came through, it flooded and opened up, and it started eating into his field, and it took a 100-acre chunk all the way out of his field and dropped it almost 20 feet down on the ground. What do you think he had to do? He had to come in and fill all that back in. He had to come back in and make that plantable ground again. That guy lost millions of dollars trying to rework all that soil, get it all filled back in and stuff like that. I feel bad for those people. They lose tons of money. A lot of it's insurance money, I get it, but there's a lot of it that they lose. They don't get their hours back. They don't get all the stress and the you know, the time that they take away from their family and stuff. They don't get that back. So they're going through some tough times right now. And there's a number of things right now that we should be really appreciative of that we're not. And I don't think enough people know about what's going on. Like, I bet you I could pick 10 people on the internet randomly right now and ask if they know anything about the flooding in Nebraska. They would have no clue. None. No clue. So, look, the takeaway from here is things are going to get a little tough. Not right now. We're going to have low prices of beef and stuff right now, but come 3-4 weeks from now, it's going to get rough. The prices are going to skyrocket. There's going to be a lot of prices on grain and things like that that go up substantially, and that gets transferred through to us because it has to be paid for somehow, and we're the consumer, so we're going to pay for it, and that is just what it is. So be ready for that. And remember, support the video. Give it a thumbs up. Share the video somewhere. You make or break how a guy grows. It's on the viewers. You make or break how a YouTuber moves up in his journey. You don't like the video, you don't comment on the video, you don't share the video, they don't grow. That's just how it works. There's an algorithm to it. Just telling you right now. And I'm not seeing a lot of that going on lately. Anyhow, I'm gonna go over here to this grass-fed store, and I'm gonna interview these people, or the lady that's there. I'm gonna let you guys see what it looks like. I'm gonna show you some of the prices and stuff like that. I got another email today from All Grass-Fed Farms in Dundee, Illinois. They're gonna actually let me come out to their farm and video. They want to let the grass get a little greener and stuff like that, so they said give it a few weeks. So I'm thinking sometime next month to go out there one weekend and show you the behind-the-scenes operation. And I'm trying to work on the farm, the store that I'm going to right now. Her brother runs the farm in Iowa. I want to see if he'll let me come out there and video his farm behind the scenes, you know, how they operate and stuff like that. So this should be interesting. We got some good stuff coming up. We definitely have some good stuff coming up. You know, who else brings you this stuff? Nobody else tells you the dirt on the doctors. Nobody else goes behind the scenes and does this kind of stuff. The vegans do. They're the ones out there doing it. So now I'm like, why can't I do this on the meat side to dispel some of these bad truths and stuff like that? I'm the one that'll dig right into the controversy and bring it up, and I don't care who gets mad about it. I just do it. So I'm hoping that I get a lot more, you know, subscribers and people that follow me that really appreciate my aggressive effort to find the truth and give people good quality information, no matter if it's in normal clothes, normal dude, not making, you know, tons of money off any of this stuff, and just trying to give you the best that I can. So I'm gonna head over to that store right now and get off of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting me. Remember, thumbs up that video, like it, share it, do what you got to do.